It's no secret that I love Fairy Tail, faults and all, and I have truly been enjoying Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, the sequel to the original series, and as I go back, I revisit the main series of Fairy Tail, and after going through it again, I have come to a pretty big realization regarding the sequel 100 Years Quest, and that is that it doesn't feel the same. While the art is by somebody new and was an assistant to Hiro Mashima during his run on Fairy Tail, Hiro Mashima still does the storyboarding and the writing and basic character designs for the most part for 100 Years Quest alongside whatever other projects he is currently doing. But despite Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest having great fights, some awesome hype moments, as well as adding additions to the lore of Fairy Tail and giving some of our other characters moments that truly make them great. Outside of Gray, he needs some more spotlight. There is one thing, one crucial aspect of Fairy Tail that makes it Fairy Tail that 100 Years Quest not only lacks, but is just virtually non-existent in the manga. And that's what I'm going to get into today. Before we jump right into things, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Shows you all enjoy the video and makes me confident to make even more videos like this in the future. Now then, on with the video. So while 100 Years Quest has given us some great fights, some really cool interesting characters, expansions on stuff like Dragon Slayers, giving us the Dragon Gods, the origin of Wizard Guilds, there is a massive thing that 100 Years Quest does sorely lack from the original Fairy Tail. And that thing that it lacks is the emotional gravitas, the emotional resonance you have with the characters. As when in Fairy Tail, almost every significant arc, even some minor arcs, have given us something to feel, whether it be true blue anger, sadness, joy, or just give us the whole instance of just tearing up for tears of joy or sadness within the series. 100 Years Quest doesn't have that. Well, yes, 100 Years Quest has great moments of hype within it, and has expanded stuff for the characters for the most part, and given us some cool new characters to end up truly enjoying. 100 Years Quest just doesn't have that emotional pull that the original Fairy Tail does in fact have. You can say that, yeah, maybe Mashima just doesn't have that same touch that he did within Fairy Tail, but to that I'd say, he does a pretty good job with the emotions and tugging at people's heartstrings in Eden Zero, the work that he was doing weekly alongside writing 100 Years Quest. And it was consistent with practically every single arc in that series, bar maybe 2 or 3 of them for the majority of the series. Even the final arc, which has a good chunk of the Phantom Torn, it does have some really cool emotional moments even towards the end that will tug at your heartstrings. But 100 Years Quest doesn't really have that. The most we get, and is the only time in 100 Years Quest where I truly felt some emotion, which, spoilers for 100 Years Quest, skip to the timestamp to avoid it, is when at the end of the dungeon arc, or the Doggermog arc, Irene essentially gives her life, the remainder of her life, her spirit, away, so that in order to help Celine recover to an extent so she can actually do stuff, but also just feels like she needs to move on. She needs to pass on, as she was just slowly enchanted herself onto Wendy's body after the end of the Alvarez arc. And with how this moment felt, while it did end up leading to a pretty funny meme within the community, the moment itself did truly feel like an additional aspect of Irene's character fully coming full circle and giving us a little piece of that ending from her and Alvarez to really click a bit more. It feels like the thing that was missing to an extent did truly feel like it was earned. And while I didn't tear up at that moment, that was the first time I felt true blue, genuine emotion out of 100 Years Quest that wasn't hype for the entirety of the series. So yeah, outside of that one specific moment, the most I can give Fairy Tail is just hype and just some really cool moments. Even recently in the manga, a character returned and reunited with someone for the first time in a long time, and I felt like this one character in that it didn't really feel that emotional. It just happened, and while you were happy for that happening, you didn't get the big emotional impact that you thought you would have. Now, obviously, there's some foreshadowings for the future that maybe we'll get that big moment later on, but at the moment, 100 Years Quest doesn't have that. In the original Fairy Tail, almost every big arc and even some smaller arcs had that emotional gut punch, whether it be Galuna Island with Gray and Leon's backstory, Phantom lore with everything regarding Lucy and her family and everything that happened between Fairy Tail and Phantom Lord. Whether it be Tower of Heaven and Erza's conflict, the Loki arc, Battle of Fairy Tail, to an extent, Daedalus, then Tenro Island, and so on and so forth. Practically every single arc, except Avatar. We don't talk about Avatar for the most part. It's fine, it's whatever. Every single arc in the main series of Fairy Tail that really matters has either one or two emotional gut punches. Something that will hit you in the feels, make you happy, make you tear up, make you sad. That is what makes Fairy Tail, and by extension, the works of Hiro Mashima, is what makes these moments memorable and gets people truly attached to these characters. That was one of Fairy Tail and Hiro Mashima's greatest strengths as a series and to Hiro as a writer. Even going on to Ian Zero, and right now we don't have that in Dead Rock at the moment. The potential is still there, but Dead Rock is more of a departure from his usual style of writing, so I'm giving him a pass for now. But with the recent information out of New York Comic Con at an interview with Hiro Mashima, it was revealed that Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest was a decision made by corporate to be a sequel to the mainline series. And even Mashima didn't really plan for a sequel to the mainline series. And so while Hiro Mashima has given us some really cool moments, ideas, and world building on characters in 100 Years Quest, the fact that it wasn't part of his plan to begin with, and even though he's having fun with it, the fact that he's not giving us these emotionally resonant character moments like he did in the original series does show that he probably doesn't have these types of moments planned out. He could surprise us in the future. That is highly likely and will most likely happen. I have faith in the guy. But it just feels like to go on for so long in this series and not have one of those major moments, it just feels different. It doesn't feel fully like Fairy Tail like it was before. And I think that's what a lot of people who say that Fairy Tail feels relatively different in 100 Years Quest than the original can really attribute to that. The emotional gut punch, the emotional resonance and attachment to characters to a whole other level. And to an extent, I do kind of get it. I mean, the main series ended, all the character arcs are wrapped up, there's not really too much for characters to fully go through in terms of emotional and big development for their characters. It's understandable. There was never any plans for it. But right now, it shows in 100 Years Quest, and I am kind of disappointed personally, but that doesn't make 100 Years Quest bad. It has some issues over the last few arcs that I probably might make separate videos on, but at the moment, I still very much enjoy 100 Years Quest. I like seeing Team Natsu and our characters from Fairy Tail do stuff, be goofballs, having hype fights, doing really awesome stuff, and seeing brand new characters introduced into the story and expanding the world. But yeah, that emotional attachment and resonance that I have with the cast of characters and that I tend to expect from Hiro Mashima and his works, it's just not here in 100 Years Quest while it is in the other three major works that he has done and completed in the past. So yeah, it's different, it feels like something is lacking, and that's what it is. I hope that changes in the future. There are teases that something big could potentially happen that I hope hits me in the feels and in the gut, and that will truly make things feel right for me again. But even if it doesn't, I'm still gonna enjoy this series. I love Fairy Tail, I love the characters, I like everything that we see in 100 Years Quest, for the most part. Again, I have my criticisms with it, but overall I still have a good time and find good things in it that I want to read more every single bi-weekly release and make videos on it. If I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't be making these videos in the first place. So yeah, I'm hopeful for the future, but at the moment, this is what 100 Years Quest is lacking, and that I hope Hiro Mashima ends up implementing for the future of the series, as he doesn't seem to have any plans for the series ending anytime soon. And he is having fun with it, so let's see where this goes. But how do you guys feel? Do you agree with me? Do you think that the emotional resonance is what's missing in 100 Years Quest that makes it not feel the same as the original series? Or is it something else? Let me know in the comments down below about what you think it is and if you agree with me or not. And what's more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.